Hello and welcome. It is currently 3:07 p.m. Eastern Time, and the date, the second day of February 2021. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel, where, like always, all bets, trades, and within the like, well, that would be within each's own risk and their own reward. All right. We have on the 4-hour term time frame price action, which has gotten above the 18 average of highs 3 periods before here, and then a nice hold period. The most previous one getting up and now exceeding the previous intraday highs, as it's pretty much at that key Fibonacci level that I'm looking at, which is a little over 36,000. So in the very short term time frame, this thing is no need. It's going to stop now. Why do I say 36,000? That's Fibonacci analysis. If I've already pre-calculated some numbers and 36,012, I'm looking at the lows of 32,194 and the highs of 38.6. There's the lows. 30. These lows here and these highs. So the first level that it came up to, that I'm looking at, was 34,512. How do I grade this? Well, this high is 34,736, and 34.5 would be somewhere around, piercing extra. And then it gets above it and supports it, and now exitation after supporting it right now. It showed nice little movement within the 18 average of highs. We're showing strength on the 18 average of highs as well. Attempt to break out the previous hour, and then working and then doing well on that attempt within the last hour completed, and continuing further, of course, getting above this level of resistance, on pace to go a little over 36,000. Now that's very short-term stuff, showing me that it's at a big resistance level, and if it fails in this level and goes higher, then this could be a failed breakdown, or this would be a failed breakdown. If it resisted, then the key Fibonacci would be from this low to whatever this high happens to be, and 61.8%, or around 34,000 low change, becomes an important hold area. Now, along the way, we have this high of 42,000. I think it's 42,000 even. And we have this low of 28,800. High divided by low to the exponent of the numbers shown, and then multiply the low, and in this case 28,800. Key numbers coming in at 33,265, and then I guess we're probably going to go further than that 36 low change. It's probably now going to go with 36,363. And these are more of a, to me, these is a Trump level. Trump is in, like, not the former president, but this Trump's is better than. So then, 36,323. For this selling to be a failed move, it needs to hold and stay above it. For it to be a real one, what we usually need to see is come up to it, resist it if it's going to come to it, which it did. Then pull back, and then make your pattern of lower highs and lower lows. Now, it's okay to make a higher low in the first one, but it's very important on a bearish sentiment to make a lower high here, especially with a higher low and a good rally already put in, which again shows the more importance if it can at least go symmetrical, make a pattern of higher lows and lower highs if this move is unable to get above this 38 or to this 38 level, or to it or below it, either way, to make a hold at 34,000, really 33,700, but no, 34,000. Yeah, if it goes down there, fine, but 34,000 low change I like better. That's, of course, again, if this thing is going to show any short-term sentiments of breaking down. And this is just in the early stages of quite the opposite of a breakout spot. Also, when we look at the Fibonacci further, 36,000, when situations like this happen where it almost hit it and then it's going to break through, which is what the case here is. You can see it almost breaks it within this, and then a nice correctionary move. 33,265, that's like way down in here. We can see it supported it. And then it's resisted it, had the support. I mean, I'd almost be looking for short term, even that we have a 76.4 hit, which is $38,000, or intermediate term even. We'll see how it goes, if this is any type of level of resistance or not. But given how well it's corrected, I'm thinking it's going to be tough. The buyers are in full control of this market. They have been since October. And if this is it, we've had, what kind of correctionary moves did we have since this move? Well, we had a red period down, was down 1.3%. Oh, okay, sideways move. And then another one down 1.1%. Well, that's even less, sideways move. And here we had down 6 and down 9.8. Man, you know what? Long term, it's sideways, but it's, if that's what it is, 2 in a row and then a bullish sideways, because this is up 2.6. Yeah, nothing. And even right now, this 8% is just correcting sideways. But if you see it's starting to break out and going close to that previous high of like 40, even 39,000 to the 40 number, I'm going to be expecting continuation. Probably the 40,000 is going to be a week's area, at least in the low to mid 40,000. It's going to be a weak selling area, because I think this thing is going to just go right to 50, even higher, relatively quick. Thus, 45 is a conservative, 46,000 would be a conservative target level on a break above the previous high of 42,000. Again, on the monthly time frame, just every single month has been up since, of course, this October period. And even this month down like 7% was like a mad one, as was this one down even less at 3.3. There hasn't been any big moves down in close to a year, which of course was the start of the current situation. And within the current situation, look at the debts that's been added to this, or all the fiat currencies that's been added to the situation. Do times look good where we'd want to hold the fiat currencies over that of precious metals and that of cryptocurrencies, or that of, do we expect cryptocurrencies and precious metals to go higher in the next little bit? I will certainly think that they will. Let's now change things up to that of Litecoin before going into gold and silver. And within it, double bottom, I guess you can call this. It's like 2 U's, basically, however you want to look at it. It needs to get above the neckline, which is this previous high. That previous high is $146. It's in that attempt to do so. Technically, it's $1.30 below, or less than 1%, pretty much 1% down from the high of 2019. And it's down, and a lot of altcoins still are. 420 was a previous high. It's down like 2/3 pretty much. 150 times 2 is 290 plus 140. Yeah, pretty much 2/3 down. However, as the setup goes, it gets above the 18 average on the November month. The attempt to break out is what that states. This looks like an successful attempt on the follow-through in December. A little more follow-through and holding in January. Most certainly it's been a continuation on the hold, but haven't had a down month since September. We look at this on the weekly chart. We are seeing we are in week number 4 within this correctionary phase, but price action has not dipped below the 18 average of highs, and it's attempting an exitation at this point, but most importantly, attempting an exitation from this Fibonacci in which it resisted, had very little time with this time. Now it's came up to it. It found no resistance the first time. So now it's either going to be resistance or support. But if this thing has exitation, this will be showing signs of, okay, this would be support. And as I mentioned before, if there's a move like this where we have a little bit pierced like this, and I'm not going to deem this as resistance very strong at all. And I'm going to be looking pretty much at previous high of around 400. I think this thing would explode into major situations. Now, what I would need to see short term is a 61% breakout from the low and the high of the most previous period. So we got this high in at $186.34. And I'm going to divide it by the low that it had a couple of periods later. That's $111.04. So the key numbers, the 61.8 is $152.91. That's what it needs to get above. And again, we're looking at that interesting spot where you'd almost have to think that it would come up to this 164 as its next resistance level, just because it's not that big of a move. And it's, now this was just odd how it didn't make it to this plane here. Just a rarity, because usually, I mean, it's just, I hate that, why does Fibonacci almost pretty much always work? This was a spot where on this January 29th high, it should have went a little higher and it didn't. So it's one of those rarities. It's almost like I'm looking at it. I mean, am I doing things right here? This is how normally charts aren't supposed to be like this way, and it's pretty much that. It's not. Now, this little period in here on the 4 hour. I mean, I don't know if they called it a cattail when my early days of learning. I mean, the name to me is irrelevant. What the situation is, what does this tell you? Well, intra period, it obviously went down, thus it had a correctionary move. And then it came back and it went to the upper end to where it was. That's what it means. And where did it come from? What happened before? Well, what happened before was 6 consecutive green candles up, and 3 of them were pretty good. The other 3 weren't all that bad. The last one was damn good at 4.5%. Then we had this 3%, and then 2.2. And these ones weren't so bad for the 4 hour time frame at 0.6. Yeah, I guess it's a bad one. A 1% and a 1.2%. So short term, of course, it can pull back at any time. It already has within this period, but why is it pulling back again within this red one? Well, let's see here. 1 hour term time frame, we're showing a lot of sideways action with this support hit, but we're doing this with this support, then this high. So far, this uptrend isn't dying. It's still intact. But we do see in here in a spot where high come down the lows. High, which is a higher one, into the correctionary phase. Then again, barely another one, correctionary phase. This time when the correctionary phase, it spends a substantial amount of time in it, but it does not really spend any time below the 18 lows. So the only test that it has amongst such, it succeeds very well. Then it gets above it on the 14 stamp, and then a nice hold, which is, this is where it looks big. And I've stated so many times, if you can see it break it, really at the top here, you're like, oh, it's looking like it's breaking it, now it's pulling back. So if you buy here, what do you do when it pulls back like this? I mean, we could easily be coming down the 18 lows again and find support, and it could be successful. The bullish trends are still in the market. And if Bitcoin does these things, make it going higher, will Litecoin follow through? Probably, because even if Litecoin doesn't do as well against Bitcoin and it's barely overperformed it thus far, you might see a spot where from point now to point 3 hours or 5 hours from now, maybe Bitcoin goes up 3 or 4%, but then Litecoin goes up 2. Thus it goes down against the dollar. But as it goes right now, the signs are pointing that this is looking good. And even if it does break down and we have a correctionary move, that just means that we have point low of 127 and point high. And we'd have a 61.8 somewhere near around 138. And that would be a move of like going down like 3% or whatever. And would it hold? And then where we came from area, 134, 133 area, be really, really big, even down to 132. And that's again on the if situation that it does do it. Because to me, when I look at this, this is looking like it's ready for a full-fledged breakout. Let's look at gold. Currently at 1,837 for the price action. And on the monthly chart, I like how it's holding and staying in about this. But this is like your safe haven asset. Mike Maloney was mentioning in his video saying silver being the second one. And I wish I would have waited a bit, but you know, it doesn't matter because I added like just a small percentage increase to my silver portfolio of real silver by buying last night. I could have waited till today because silver's down and Bitcoin's up since then. And it was Bitcoin that I used to buy it with, but I used to just not a small percentage of my portfolio of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's it's the third largest holding of cryptos, with Theta being my largest. So, I mean, Bitcoin's just a diversification is something I think is very, very important. But anyway, silver comes up to this line, pulls back up to it again. I mean, a higher low in here would be so important. But to me, I think this is ultimately ready for a full-fledged breakout scale. Now, ideally, what I do hope for is that this does chop around and maybe we can just range around. This would be resistance and maybe we can come down to 20, support this, have a move down here, have a move up there. Because what would be ideal for me? I bought 40 ounces of silver last night, which isn't that much for me. I'd like to add another zero to that. And what would make another zero easier to do is if this does come down here and then cryptocurrencies and Theta and all these other ones, Ripple and what have you, have significant gains where I'll be looking at buying 100 times what I bought, maybe 400 ounces of silver, thinking, wow, this is like serious, super serious deflation in the sense of, is it, I mean, it hardly costs anything at all in the feeling of if, again, this crypto goes 4x and 6x, which is very capable of happening. Which is why when I bought silver last night, it was like, geez, I can't buy that much because I know what cryptos are going to be doing. And even if this does break out nice, we go to the previous high of 50. What happens if and this doubles? Would it be a surprise if we have 3 and 4 and 6x in cryptos? And the answer again would be no. And it'd be like, okay, silver's going up, but according to me, it's going down, so I'm going to buy it, kind of deal. And I'm going to finish this video off using the example of a safe. And you can only put one item in it. You can put gold, silver, fiat currencies, or that of blockchain, like private keys. See, private keys in here, I don't know in 4 or 5 years what the state of cryptos is going to be. And I have always thought for years, man, Bitcoin's probably going to be making the move, going 60 to 100, 150, 200,000. Who knows if it even can get to 1 million, but definitely 60,000 to 250,000. And then will it hold? Will it all crash after that? I don't know. Fiat currencies, I like to hold this because I'd rather hold it than the banks. And if I ever need it, that's what it's there for. Heck, we could have a dollar collapse at some point. And if it does, it goes to nothing. But if it does, most likely these private keys would be pretty good to have. And having this gold and having this silver and all the other ones that I have would be something that I'd want to hold. In fact, just a few months ago, I was in the need of a refrigerator and a washing machine. I was able to get both of them for, person wanted cash. So it was a very quick and easy transaction. And being in a stage where if I'm in the situation where I need to either distribute or accumulate a currency, a means of exchange, if you want to pay me in gold, silver, cash, or give me cryptos, and same thing as far as if I have to pay it myself, I can pay in cash, I can pay in gold, I can pay in silver, and I can pay in cryptos. And having multiple forms has been a great feeling. And I'm back to the charts again, but it just shows diversity, which I think is very, very important. Because, again, if you're bearish on cryptocurrencies, then how do you not at least have a small amount of it in it, just in case? Just saying. And same thing with precious metals, because you could have a good financial savings and well-being and there's a lot of people that are in the situation where they have a very good financial well-being situation, yet they practically have no gold and silver, and they might have a little bit of jewelry or what this and that here and there because obvious reasons, but that'd be limited, of course. And a lot of it might be to the point where, hey, no, this is from my grandma or whatever, I can't sell it, and there's got so much reasons, and that's a lot of their gold and silver's that way too, and so on. And they don't have any cryptocurrencies whatsoever, and a lot of them businesses the same way. When you look at your assets, I think, why would you not want to have such? And if I'm a big business, I'm thinking of the ideas, how do I put my business in both the precious metals and that of the cryptocurrency business? Because I know in precious metals, I can have my own coins minted, especially if I'm going to be holding gold and silver in my own vaults. Is there any way I could use that within the business somehow? I could actually even distribute and sell. I know it might be whatever miscellaneous things that have to be done to become a precious metal dealer or whatnot. And if I'm just going to hold it, then I won't need to. I could just buy my maples and eagles and my whatever ounce bars here and there. And then you got cryptocurrencies. Do I make my own coin? Is there any good reason for me to do so. How do I make a coin and then make a demand for it within the product that I'm doing that's going to make it very well? And then within the coin, how do I make it so people are going to want the coin? What things do people hate? Decentralization, and within centralization, how can I make centralization work? And if I go decentralization, how do I decentralize it properly and things like that? These are questions I think many companies should be trying to get the answers for. Of course, if you're just a small business, whatever, then there really isn't much of a need for it. But you could be just like a pizza shop and have your own cryptocurrency and, well, within your blockchain, well, who knows? Maybe you could have it set so that you can get better pizza deals or whatnot. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.